Hello again. In this episode, we are going to talk about how to be happy no matter what challenges you're facing. This is so simple, and yet so many people go through life and they think that happiness comes from the accumulation of things, or they have happiness living their lives through other people, or it's with their thoughts. So I'm going to give you insights here to make a transformation on how you can be happy no matter what circumstances you are in, because happiness comes from within, not from external influences. I'm Doug Andrew, and I'm passionate about helping you move from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, from what I call captivity to freedom. Because unfortunately, many people are living their lives in captivity, not physical captivity necessarily, but sometimes the captivity caused by their money or things. They think that happiness is from the accumulation of things. And then they begin to realize later that pretty soon when you own a lot of things, they start to own you. So let me show you sort of how I bring this all together with my kids and grandkids, those people I care about, and I care about you. I've noticed that we go through life in the present moment, seeing ourselves as here, and we can't wait till we get there, whatever there is. For example, when we're young, we can't wait till we go to kindergarten. And then when we finally get there, we can't wait till we go to a full day of school and get school lunch. We get there and we have about 3 school lunches. We go, what was that all about? And then we can't wait till we're the king of the elementary school. We get there and then we get demoted. We go through these cycles. We're now in a middle school or a junior high looking for our locker, being made fun of. And we finally can't wait till we're the king of that junior high school. We're there. Then we get demoted again. We're a freshman or a sophomore in high school. And we can't wait till we graduate and we're there. You know, I was a keynote speaker last year to a group of 500 high school graduates that had earned entrepreneurial scholarships. And I was invited to speak to them on how to take that $1,000 scholarship and don't blow it on some depreciating asset like a motorcycle or a car, but hello, this is for entrepreneurship. How to take that $1,000 scholarship and double it 10 times to over $1 million in 10 years. I've helped many teenagers do this. I share these stories in other episodes, how teenagers have taken $2 and bought ingredients and made pizzas and then sold the pizzas for 3 times what it cost to make the pizza. Or they bought gas and oil for a lawnmower and they started mowing lawns. And I would challenge them to double that as many times as they could. Many of those teenagers that I started out with $2, because I teach them the parable of the talents out of the Bible, they turned that $2 into 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. 20 years later, some of them come up and say, you know, Mr. Andrew, do you remember me? And now they're all grown up with a beard, and I go, no, I was part of Project Share. Because see, when we would have them double their money several times, we would give it away to a charity, and if they learned something, then they would turn that into a business. And one young man said, have you heard of XYZ Landscape and Lawn Care on the radio? I go, yeah. That's my company. Now we have 50 crews and we bring in $5 million a year, and I give $500,000 to the hospital that we did. See, when you teach them how to fish, you'll feed them for a lifetime. So this is how they learn how to multiply their talents. But see, what happens is we don't realize that the key is being grateful and happy for wherever you're at, whether you got $2 or $2 million. So oftentimes I will draw this pyramid or triangle, and in order to get the ratios that I'm going to talk about, I tell people, you know, out of 7.6 billion people currently on the earth today, I'm Christian, and so if you believe literally from Adam and Eve until today, it's been estimated there's been maybe about 70 billion people since Adam and Eve. So let's just use those numbers. Do you know, out of all the people on planet Earth today, or that have ever lived on planet Earth, most of them would look at you and me our lifestyles, our smartphones, our indoor plumbing. I mean, the pharaohs of Egypt would have given their eye teeth for a flush toilet. But they would look at you and me and say, you're in the top 1/10 of 1% of humanity. What do you have anything to complain about? You're already there. Yeah, but I travel a lot and I see responsible adults going 550 miles an hour through the air. And they throw tantrums when the Wi-Fi goes out 10 minutes. And they're like, just give it a second. It's going to outer space and back still, okay? Kids throw tantrums because they can't figure out how to open their second bag of Cheetos because their hands are too greasy from their first bag of Cheetos. Most kids on this planet have never had a bag of Cheetos. I have an acquaintance that has a 27,000 square foot mansion with a 900 square foot room in it just for one of his kids' Lego villages. That kid is never happy and he has everything. We're already blessed. We're there. Happiness should not be contingent on some future result. Is the drama in life more important than being happy wherever you are at? We are happy because of what we are, not because of what we have. Would you agree? Happiness comes from producing values, not consuming values. A lot of the troubled youth that I mentor seek happiness from consumption, and they don't realize that it wears off, and so they have to constantly keep shooting up or getting happiness from external influences. They don't realize that it comes from within. So let me give you an example. Unfortunately, many people choose to go deep into shallow things like social media. Facebook, Twitter, other forms of social media, and they don't want to make their own decisions. They have decide-phobia, I call it, fear of making their own decisions, but their happiness is contingent upon living their lives through some rock star, some movie star, some professional athlete. Even adults are guilty of doing this. They don't want to make their own decisions. They want Oprah Winfrey to be president this time, see what she can do. They want Rush Limbaugh to change Congress, but they don't want to get involved. But also, many people choose to go shallow into deep things, the life-changing principles that make a difference. Oh, we don't want to go there. No, let's just stay shallow here. And so in another episode, I would recommend you watch and see how these marketing companies use algorithms to market stuff to us based upon 4 different quadrants that we place ourselves into if we get on social media and are always tweeting or posting this, that, and the other. But the key is to understand that happiness comes from producing values, not from external things where we consume, thinking the more that we can consume, that we'll be happy if we do that. And it's amazing how many people take years to understand that it's really every day getting on a win streak and focusing on what's going right. Because when I teach the 12 steps to people who have addictions, and I'm not just talking about drugs and alcohol. It can be sex and pornography. It can be shopping, sugar, eating. But see, an addiction is a disease of isolation. Those people who have those addictions, they're just trying to ease the pain. They're trying to feel accepted, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be accepted and belonging. The destination is right. They just got on the wrong train. The challenge I have found is getting them on the right train. But what they don't realize is sometimes in the pituitary gland of all of our brains, we have the ability to release chemicals, endorphins, they're called, that will actually have you or any of us feeling sort of high on life, better than the external things that wear off. You can do that automatically, and life is wonderful, and you can be happy naturally instead of artificially. And so these types of concepts I am very passionate about, and so I explained these and many others in my book Entitlement Abolition. And there are 4 chapters in this book that talk about the problem of how people get into these scarcity mindsets and they don't recognize moments that matter, and they look for happiness through the accumulation of things, or they worship people or thoughts, and it's really how to rethink your thinking. There's 8 chapters in this book that talk about how to have an abundance mindset. I would love for you to have a free copy of this. It's 200 pages. I also have a master class that you can go really deep for about 18 hours, where I spend an hour, hour and a half in each chapter. It's free. You go to entitlementabolitionbook.com. You pay a nominal shipping and handling fee, and I'll fire one out to you absolutely free. And I want you to become empowered on how you can yourself and those you care about go from a me, poor little me, maybe victim mentality, to a hero, because together we're better. We're all in this life together. And that's what I want for you, is true happiness.